Um, it's a delight and privilege to catch up with Mr. Jayanth Bhuvaraghan. Jayanth is quite a well-known person within the broader ophthalmic industry. He is currently a senior advisor and coach at EssilorLuxottica. Prior to that, he was the chief mission officer for Essilor as well as EssilorLuxottica. He serves on a range of boards, including the Vision Catalyst Fund, UK, One Sight, iAlliance. We are glad that he's on the board of the India Vision Institute, and he's also on the board of Vision Impact Institute. He's worked extensively around the world, including starting the Essilor operation in India and bringing that to a leading level. We are so privileged, Jan, that you could join us in this conversation.
Thank you so much, Vinod. It's an absolute pleasure to be talking to you today. Thank you.
And then, Jayanth, I was just wondering, do you think we'll ever reach a time where, irrespective of where you live, if you need access to a pair of glasses, you can get access to it? And if so, by when and how do you think that's going to happen?
Thank you, Vinod. I think that's a great question. First of all, I wanted to share with you a simple equation which I've derived over years of working in the ophthalmic field. The cost of any eyeglass is normally equal to 3 days of your salary, regardless of where you live. Whether you live in New York City or in a small hamlet or village anywhere in the world, it should be equal to 3 days' salary. So now if you take somebody who's earning about $2 a day, if you can provide him glasses at $6, I think the problem of affordability is solved. So today, we have access to good eyeglasses at the price points that we want at $5, $6. So affordability is a myth. It's not a problem anymore. The products are available. It's about connecting the dots. So 2 key problems remain. One is access, and the other one is awareness. Awareness both at the user level and also at the policymakers level. These are the 2 things that needs to be solved. I strongly believe that the world has a unique opportunity to eliminate uncorrected poor vision in a generation. We have a roadmap where we can do it in a 30-year time frame. And I hope I will live long enough for the next 30 years to see the last man wearing glasses. And I'm very, very optimistic that it would happen.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jayanth, for that. Just wondering, you work with governments extensively around the world, including in India, Singapore, many other countries. Do you think the governments have a big role in achieving what you just said, so that there is access to a pair of glasses for every citizen? Because usually governments are the custodians of the best infrastructure, in terms of human resource numbers, etc. We'll be very keen to hear your comments on that.
Yeah, I mean, the governments are definitely one of the most important players. If you look at it from different angles, right? First of all, uncorrected poor vision is the largest disability in the world, affecting 2.7 billion people, or 1 in 3 of them. 90% of them live in developing countries. So, the government have a responsibility to solve this disability. The second thing is, unlike other disabilities or diseases or pandemics, to solve this problem, we don't need to invent a new vaccine or a new molecule. Simple solutions like eyeglasses, what I'm wearing, what everyone wears, exist today. So you have a problem and you have a solution. The third thing, if you look at it from a purely economic point of view, we know that if you put glasses on people's noses, you increase the productivity of the GDP of the world by $270 to $280 billion every year. It's also estimated that to solve this problem in 30 years, the world needs to invest $14 billion, which is nothing when you actually see, if you invest $14 billion, you increase the GDP of the world or the economic productivity by 19 trillion US dollars. So it's a no-brainer. So it's got a huge social impact. It's got a huge economic impact. And only the governments can do this by driving primary healthcare, primary vision care access. I'm personally a great believer in universal health coverage. And I strongly believe that all governments of the world should bring universal health coverage, and vision health should be a big part of it. Vision should not be seen as an isolated health issue. Vision is the cross-cutting lever across all diseases. And in fact, all governments are now talking about sustainable development goals and meeting them by 2030, etc. There is no way you can meet any of those 17 goals if anyone had poor vision. It's a unique kind of golden thread. So when you have so many arguments in the favor, and it brings in so much of greater good, economic good, social good, and happiness in general, and the cost of correction is so very small, I strongly believe that governments are already realizing this and will very soon do policy changes, system changes to deliver good vision care. And they are our key partners in that sense.
And Jayanth, I mean, you've been championing this for a long time, the last few decades, and you continue to do this. Now, all of a sudden, COVID came in. Just wondering what impact COVID's going to have in terms of, this vision that everyone can get access to a pair of glasses. And the second part of what I would be quite keen to hear from you is, what long-term impacts do you think COVID is going to have within the ophthalmic industry?
You see, when COVID hit us, it caught everybody off guard. First of all, we all realized everywhere in the world that how grossly underfunded healthcare is. And no one was prepared to tackle a pandemic of this kind because nobody had really invested that much in healthcare except for a few governments. But as it happened, many governments around the world did not hesitate to divert investment into healthcare, and rightly so. We know that there are countries which have gone up to investing up to 15% of their GDP to fight COVID and bringing investment into healthcare and healthcare systems. So it's been a kind of rude awakening in terms of actually showing us that where the investment should be done. And I think post-COVID, I'm strongly hoping and believing that we don't go back to our old ways and governments continue to invest on healthcare, primary healthcare, and vision care in general, which is a subset of the primary healthcare and overall healthcare. So I think that has been one big learning from COVID. The second thing also has been that COVID has opened up new innovations with technology-driven innovations, with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, with medical diagnostics using technology. So in a sense, I believe that technology will be a great leveler to bring in equitable access to healthcare and eye care everywhere in the world. Similar to what internet has done to everyone, because internet is the same, its access is available wherever you are. I think this will go a step further and create equitable access. So I believe that all the learnings that we have got in this pandemic-born innovations should be helpful for us to drive more innovations in order to provide equitable access. The other thing on COVID is that there's a greater need to bring people back to work. There's a greater need of bringing people more productive. What better way to make them more productive than giving them a good vision care and increasing their productivity? So this will also become, I think, a new normal in that sense. And lastly, while infrastructure has to be developed, the governments will also have to invest in trained healthcare professionals and manpower. Similar in eye care, we need to develop a larger optometry community, ophthalmologist community, at the same time to support them primary eye care and healthcare community. So I hope that lots of investments will go in from the governments, taking the COVID experience and learning, and we should come back stronger. So I hope that answers your question. And from the industry perspective, if I may say, I think it's also exposed us in terms of what we should be doing, adapting constantly to the new world with new technologies, with new ways to drive access. And of course, developing new products, because we are more than connected anywhere now. Because I think on an average, everyone spends 10 to 12 hours or even more in front of a computer. And you and me are talking in front of a computer right now. So what effect this has on the eyes and what effect it will have on general vision is something that needs to be understood, and appropriate products needs to be developed. So there's a lot to do.
And my very last question, I think, you have worked, with so many different NGOs, you worked with professional networks, industry networks, and what would your advice be? End of the day, the average person needs to benefit and get access to a pair of glasses. You need a sustainable long-term solution. So what would be your advice to these groups when they are exploring, how they can work together, solve problems, etc.? And I thought that words of wisdom from you would be great. So.
Thank you, Vinod. That's very kind of you, but I don't know whether I would be in a position to advise people, because there are much more senior veterans out there who probably understand this space better. But having seen that, and this is something which keeps me awake in the night. I constantly keep thinking about what do we need to do to bring better eye care. 4 things come to my mind, actually. I think the first one is, I think we need to revolutionize the financing of healthcare and eye care. Not only by the existing models, but by newer ways of blended financing and bringing in newer actors and newer models. And this is something which is just starting to happen. And I'm glad that people like the Vision Catalyst Fund who are trying to raise $1 billion for vision care through blended finance and new ways of financing is one of the things, but there are many more such things need to happen if you have to drive change. That's number one. The second thing is that we are, I think, more than ever realizing today that we are stronger together. And the more we collaborate, the more we join bigger coalitions and work towards a common cause, the more successful we will be. This is even more true in today's situation. So I think we need to be always working with all like-minded people together. This is where I think, Vinod, under your leadership many years back, you started the IVI, bringing in all the like-minded people together and creating a common platform. I think we need many such platforms all over the world to bring this strong collaborative spirit together. This is, I think, the second thing which needs to be done. The third thing is that, like I said before, we need to be open to adopt to new technologies. The new technologies which are knocking our door, the new technologies which will be coming. We should not be afraid of them, but we should embrace them. Whether it is teleoptometry, whether it is teleophthalmology, whether it's medical diagnosis through machine learning, whatever it is, and we don't even know what else will come. But I think we should be open, because these are our friends, not our enemies, which will help us to bring in better access and better healthcare around the world. Mm. And the last thing, I think, is that when you want to solve the problem for 2.7 billion people in the world, we need to be open to accept market-based, financially sustainable solutions, which will include all players, and open to innovating and developing new ideas to do these market-based solutions. I think these 3 or 4 key things are absolutely important. And if people realize this and work towards this, then I'm 100% sure that we will together be able to build back vision care better post-COVID.
Thank you so much, Jayanth, for taking the time and talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinod.